Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this morning's episode of Trending. What have we got coming up, Rich?
This morning, we're going to ask the question, do humans need AI to survive? And the US accuses the UK of not upholding human rights. What else?
We're also going to be talking about the burning of the red heifer, which, of course, in religious prophecy is supposed to signal the beginning of the end times. But has that already taken place? Thank you so much for tuning in, everyone. Wherever you're watching this, whether you're watching on X or YouTube, or indeed whether you're listening on Spotify or Iconic, we really do appreciate your support. If you've not already subscribed to Iconic, you can head over there and you can start your subscription for just $1.99 a month. There's documentaries, there's films, Richard, there's weekly shows.
There's some amazing stuff. There's 6 years worth of content on there.
Amazing. Right, okay, let's kick off this morning then.
Okay.
AI.
Yeah, AI, and it's not even Newcastle speak. The godfather of AI reveals the only ways for humanity to survive superintelligence, and this is his answer. Now, this was absurd to me. I found this last night and even sent it to your dad because of the talk of this person. Now, this is Geoffrey Hinton. He's known as the godfather of AI. He fears technology he helped create, stop doing it then, could help wipe out humanity. And tech bros are talking about the wrong approach. So he believes that these tech companies are taking the wrong approach to stopping something that he's put in motion, as opposed to not just making it. You know, that is an option. Apparently not an option. It's inevitable that it's going to take over. So we have to get that in our minds now, apparently.
Yes, well, if something was potentially going to overtake humanity, I don't think I'd be investing hundreds of billions of pounds and dollars in it. But
you would have thought so, wouldn't you?
You'd think,
That's
yeah.
where you start, wouldn't you? Hinton, a Nobel Prize-winning computer scientist and former Google executive, already looking good, isn't it, has warned in the past that there is a 10% to 20% chance that AI will wipe out humans. Playing with fire, aren't we? On Tuesday, he expressed doubts about how tech companies are trying to ensure humans remain dominant over submissive AI systems. Now, it's his answer to this is amazing. Instead of forcing AIs to submit to humans, Hinton presents an intriguing solution.
go on.
Building maternal instincts into AI. Mother AI loves you. That's his answer is, okay, we're going to build it. We won't stop building it because, you know, we've got to kill each other. But you want to be smothered by your mother.
Okay. So it's create more of something that can potentially be the end of humanity. So, I mean, it's an interesting theory. It seems to me, because this is something that we've seen a lot actually in terms of the promotion of AI, despite the fact it could spell the end of humanity. Elon Musk has said the same stuff. It's like, it could spell the end of humanity, so we need more of it. We need to invest more in it so that it's on our side. Which is a complete inversion of a sales pitch, isn't it?
Oh, it's absurd.
But I suppose you're not going to... If I want to introduce something that's going to create bad outcomes, I need to tell you that it's going to create good outcomes.
Yeah.
Because that's how you get people to agree to it, right?
But you've got to go through bad times to get to the good outcomes.
Yeah.
It's order out of chaos, but it's creating the chaos to create the order, the new order. We've created this technology and, oh no, we've already created it now. You know, the cat's out of the bag. We've got to create something now. The best we can do is we can create maternal instincts, which is mother instincts into it, so it doesn't want to kill you because it's your mum. And then, if not, just join in with it and have some of it in your body. Can't beat them, join them.
Well, that's yeah. But you can apply that to everything, though. I think that with like anti-hate groups, that all they do is just attack and demonize people and make people hate them. And you're like, but if I wanted to be quite full of hate, what better way to sort of get around that than to claim I'm anti-hate? Same, I guess, with misinformation, where you get the BBC peddling misinformation all the time under a banner of anti-misinformation.
Oh, it's just all inverted, isn't it?
Everything
it's inverted. So
Peace through strength.
There's a fork in the road here, like a Y axis in the road, and you have this point where you've got a choice between human enhancement, which is what Elon Musk's He-Man, I call it, human enhancement, which is what Elon Musk's selling, put bits in you, or Human Plus, which is the full transhumanist upload your conscious to the cloud. Now, they're saying that's the choice. But what they've done is they've got you down the transhumanist road already. Actually, what the choice is, don't build it, unplug it, it's a posh toaster.
Yeah, well, that's it. And that's where the terminology of something being inevitable comes from, is that it's inevitable, so we need to do X, Y, and Z, as opposed to, well, it isn't inevitable. It's the same with war. Well, war with Russia is inevitable, so we need to do it. Why is it? Stop poking the bear.
Yep.
It won't be inevitable. Right, next story. Trump administration. So this is J.D. Vance and the club. J.D. Vance is in England at the moment on holiday. In fact, I think he's in Scotland now. He's on a tour. Trump administration accuses UK of failing to uphold human rights. Yeah, fair enough. They've got a point. The Trump administration has accused the UK of backsliding on human rights over the past year, citing anti-Semitic violence, obviously. We'll get that bit in there. And serious restrictions on free speech. The annual US State Department assessment, which analyses human rights conditions worldwide, highlighted laws limiting speech around abortion clinics, as well as the way government officials repeatedly intervened to chill speech online after the 2024 Southport attack. I mean, I don't necessarily agree with so much of the anti-Semitic stuff of it, because most of that so-called hate was just anti-genocide marches.
Yep.
You know, obviously you've got your little pockets here and there, but this whole overarching thing about, you know, anti-Semites on the street is generally people going, stop killing kids. But they've got a point. They've got a point about the stifling of free speech in the United Kingdom. Absolutely. It's part of a greater plan to just shut people up. Because if you've got a plan to destroy something, the worst thing you can have is people exposing that plan. So, of course, they need to keep free speech under wraps while claiming they're maintaining it, obviously, which is what Starmer did. but what I find kind of rich is that this is coming from the United States.
Yeah, and who it's coming from as well.
Exactly. Who are revoking the visas of foreign students if they protest against Israel. Well, is that not free speech?
Well, they put the anti-Semitism bit in there, didn't they? So that's the caveat. That's the one you're not allowed to speak about. Not that Semitic means what they think it means anyway, but we want to get into that. So J.D. Vance, who funds J.D. Vance?
Well, Peter Thiel is a major funder.
So Peter Thiel, obviously, we know Palantir. Palantir is your deep mind. It's your record of everything you've ever said and ever done. They'll be passed down your DNA probably. And they don't mind you saying things because that's what they got on you.
I think that's part of what this push, particularly when Musk first took over X, was about, actually. Almost poking people into saying something really, outlandish. For instance, if just using Israel as an example for this, people suddenly stopped saying Zionist a lot, didn't they? And it became about the Jews. People were openly saying, I think it's the Jews, I think it's the Jews. That wasn't really happening before. It was happening probably in aspects of maybe forums, do you know what I mean? Private forums and stuff like that. It certainly wasn't happening on X, Twitter as it was. Certainly wasn't happening on Facebook. Now it is. And part of me thinks, right, I think they've poked you into saying something that's going to be used against you.
I think you've hit the nail on the head there. Because, and I've noticed this, and I get this comment on many of my posts, which are about a specific sect of Judaism, which really isn't Judaism. It's not even Zionism. It goes way beyond that into Sabbateanism and the Ashkenazim, and it goes into occultism. They hide behind Judaism. They use it as a shield, a red shield. We know this. But I get a lot of comments on there saying, you mean the Jews? You mean the Jews? Yeah. Trying to poke you into saying the Jews. And I'm like, I'm not saying that. No. You can't blanket say this. And that's the issue. The same with all Muslims. The same with that. It's actually an inversion of what many of those of the Jewish faith believe. And it certainly is a bastardization of what many of the Jewish faith mean, because they believe they are the chosen ones. But who doesn't in a faith? If you believe Jesus, you believe you're going to get saved. I don't have a problem with that, because I think it's nonsense and whatever. Believe what you want. But those of the Orthodox faith don't think they should have faith in action by doing it. They think that God's going to do it. Don't have a problem with that, because I don't believe it's ever going to happen. These guys, the Zionists, is about practical magic. It's about faith in action. It's about them making it happen. Yeah. That's the big difference.
And that's what we'll come to in the final story, which we spoke about many, many times. It's not prophecy if you make it happen.
No.
Just my final comment on this, though, is it creates the illusion of enemies as well, of political enemies. So Trump's administration who will have an opinion on Starmer's Britain, right? And so that creates, Starmer and Trump are enemies. And that then gives people almost this illusion of choice of there is another political choice in terms of Britain. Like, you've got the Trump administration saying this about Britain and about Starmer, about the stifling of free speech, and I agree with that. And so within my political sphere, there's say, reform, who would be the most probably aligned with Trump. Therefore, I'm going to go for them because I agree with what Trump said. So you create this illusion of choice when actually Trump and Starmer, all of them ultimately answer to the same people. And it ain't you, and it ain't me, and it ain't Rich.
No, it ain't me. Well, they should do.
Should be, yeah.
Okay, so the next article, how bowel cancer examinations reveal AI's negative impact on doctors. So what they're saying now, their reliance on AI is coming to the fact that we are losing skill sets. Yeah. Now, this is a double edge. I actually think there's truth to that. There's always truth mixed in there in the lies. But what they're saying is it harks back to the original sin in terms of you are a sinner, you are weak, you are incapable of doing things. AI is going to be better than us, so we must let it take over. We need to be subjugated to AI because, look, it's learning quicker than we are. So, sorry, I've got a cough going on there. Using AI regularly can potentially de-skill health workers, a new study suggests, and that will be across the board. Academics said that the finding is concerning given the rapid uptake of artificial intelligence across healthcare. The new study looked at health workers who perform a test to look for early signs of bowel cancer. So it basically done a better job of looking at it. Now, who's programming that? But the real underlying current of that story is let's take humans out of the way.
Yeah.
Let's let AI take over because it's clearly more capable than what we are. They're highlighting it because the people writing this will actually be genuinely concerned of it, but not realising that that's the point.
That's exactly it. And that was what my takeaway was from the article, Rich, was the fact that, yes, AI will de-skill workers. Of course it will. But it's meant to, because it's meant to replace them. It's sold as being able to assist doctors or to assist scientists or to assist whoever, but it's not what it's about. It's about replacing them. And, I look at it, how this whole thing, I know AI is massive at the minute, but for me, it started in the factories. It started in mass production where workers were replaced by machines. That was decades and decades and decades ago. And because people generally that worked in those factories were of the lower class, essentially, in the way that society looks upon them, no one said anything. No one was bothered. And then they replaced the checkouts in the supermarket. And again, no one said anything because people that work in the checkout are generally lower class. So I don't really care about them, whatever. As long as the elites in terms of society are safe, the doctors, for instance, well, now they're not either. And so now they're barking about it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But it's the same thing. And it's a perfect example of it. Doesn't matter where you are on the scale, really, unless you're in the less than 1%, which you ain't, then they're coming for you as well.
There's two things going on there as well. There's the whole paring down of humanity, because artificial intelligence can't match what we're capable of doing. Of course it can't. It's made by us. But they can pare down humanity so we become idiots. So it becomes, by proxy, that becomes smarter than we are. Yeah. So that's a massive part of it, paring down humanity.
Well, the education system, a perfect example.
They're dumbing people down.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And they've been doing that for centuries. I remember, I've tried to find it since, ladies and gentlemen. It's really annoying that I haven't been able to find it. And so if you're watching this and you know what I'm talking about, please, someone uploaded a picture of a test. I'm pretty sure it was like a test for maybe 9-10 years old. So what's that? Middle school nowadays, I guess, isn't it? Age. And I was looking at the test, like these questions. I was like, I think I'd get about 40%. Like, it was really amazing. And this was a standard test that kids of going back into the late 1800s were asked in school, late 1800s, early 1900s. And it was, mate, if that's the test, that you put that test to a 9-10-year-old now, they wouldn't be able to tell you what half the words were in the questions, let alone what the answer was.
Yeah.
And that's not an accident.
Well, no, it was the Rockefellers took over the education system, didn't they? And what they want to do. Did you know that Jay-Z's album, The Blueprint, came out on the day that 9/11 happened? Didn't know that.
I didn't know that.
Rockefeller Records.
We haven't thanked Beyonce, have we? At the start, we thanked the viewer, but we haven't thanked Beyonce yet, so we could be in trouble. Right, final story. This is an interesting one, right? So for a bit of context here, which is more sort of, to be fair, more Richard's bag in terms of classified and talking about this kind of stuff. But there is a biblical prophecy, we're told, that when the red heifer, which is a massive giant red cow with no speck of any other colour on its body, not a single hair that's another colour than red, this perfect red heifer is sacrificed and burnt, that will be a huge signal towards the end times and towards the return of the Messiah and towards the building of the third Solomon's temple in Jerusalem, right? So this again points back to what Richard was talking about earlier. There are groups within these religious sects that are trying to actively make it happen. They're not thinking, well, yeah, if the end times happen, they happen. It's like, no, they want it to happen.
Yep.
So I'll caveat this with saying this is not. I don't believe this to be true. I don't believe that burning a cow is going to bring about the end times. I don't. I don't believe in. I'm not into that stuff. But there are people that do. So
They're very, very high up.
Well, that's the point.
Powerful people.
That's the point. This isn't Dave down the pub who's a bit weird in the corner. These are leaders of industry, leaders of politics, leaders of religion, leaders of countries, of course, and of media. So about 2 months ago, I think it was, we heard about the fact that this imperfect red heifer had been, basically, it was supposed to be sacrificed and burnt to bring about the start of the end times, but they found one single hair on it that was imperfect. It was a black hair, I think, on a red heifer. But they sacrificed it and burnt it and performed the ceremony anyway, just to practice. It's 2025, but anyway. So this is an interesting piece. It asked the question: did the true red heifer sacrifice already take place? After the declaration that all of the red heifers were disqualified from being used for ceremonial purposes, many have started wondering if last month's event, not 2 months ago, was the true red heifer sacrifice. In a post on social media, Byron Stinson, who brought the heifers from Texas to Israel, I don't know if he bred them or whether he was just the guy that brought them on the trip. It doesn't specify. But he wrote... this is the burning from July the 1st. It was not on the Mount of Olives, which is where Ghislaine Maxwell's dad, Robert Maxwell, is buried.
Well, that's where Jesus is supposed to come back as well, I think.
It was not sacrificed on the Mount of Olives, and some Jewish leaders feel it does not pass all the requirements they support, but it was real, and it was the first burning of a red heifer, a sacrifice and burning of a red heifer in 2,000 years. He also noted that many will continue to disagree with one or another about how the ceremony should take place, how it should be performed in regards to Torah traditions, but the sacrifice and the burning that took place should be recognized as the first in 2,000 years. So actually he's claiming the fact that, well, just because you're saying it was imperfect, it still happened and you still carried it out and the words were still said and the sacrifice was still made and the heifer was still burnt. Which is, as I said, it's supposed to fulfill or at least kick off, isn't it? The beginning of the end times, the building of the third Solomon's temple on Temple Mount. The issue with that is there's a mosque there. You've got the Dome of the Rock there. And so to build that third Solomon's temple, you need to destroy Al-Aqsa Mosque. And if you do that, this isn't a case of theorizing whether there'll be a third world war. Mate, it'll kick off.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Seriously kick off. And I think it's another example, as you've alluded to earlier, you've spoken about the fact that this is people trying to create a prophecies, people trying to bring about the end times. This is not me and Rich saying that we believe in this stuff. We're saying that they do. And when you look at the number of powerful people that are there, I mean, it's a meme now. It's so often kissing the wall in Jerusalem. Of course, that is a Roman fort, but they believe it's the wall of the first Solomon's temple. The amount of leaders that make decisions that affect all of our lives, including whether they're going to press that big red button or not, are kissing that wall on a daily basis. So they support this and they believe in this.
I mean, we've been banging on about this for such a long time, and this is happening in real time as we're watching it stage by stage happen. Now, we talked about the big players, the big political players. Obviously, they're not in charge, but there is a group behind them that's very much in charge, and probably a group behind them, and maybe even a group behind them that don't even live in this reality. Let's not get into that. But this group behind them connect Putin, they connect Netanyahu, Zelensky, and Donald Trump.
Yeah.
All four players apparently having a discussion at the moment how they're going to, save the world. All four are connected to this Chabad Lubavitch group. Deeply connected, by the way.
Oh yeah, you got like Trump going to his grave and stuff. Like these
Trump
are
going to his grave.
Yeah.
You've got videos of Netanyahu pledging that he's going to fulfill the prophecies to Schneerson when he was alive. That was their leader. You've got Zelensky, who was majorly funded by Kolomoisky, who is a heavy funder of Chabad. And you've got Putin, who's got a Chabad rabbi called Lazar. I'm sorry, but this is true. And these are the people that believe this stuff.
Yeah.
And they are influencing, I would say more than influencing, in my opinion, these four major politicians. Now, yeah, they're puppets for these guys. This is the stuff that's rolling out. And when they sack Medina, those of the Islamic faith, it's written into their text, we'll see that as the start of Armageddon.
Yeah. And this is the point. I've made the point. I want to reiterate it as well, that, you know, there are fringe groups within every religion.
Yeah.
You know, you will find like awesome, cool Muslim people, and then you'll find a Muslim cleric, which is George W. bonkers. And you'll find the same in Judaism, and you'll find the same in Christianity. I mean, the amount of times I've, over the years, heard Christians coming out with stuff that you're like, hey, Jesus wept, man, are you insane? And then there's others, sound as you like, and you're like, yeah, I can go along with pretty much most of what you're saying there. You know, the issue I have with this is the fact that these are the people that are in control, and this way of thinking is the people that are in control of people that make decisions, big decisions.
Big decisions,
that affect our daily lives. It's a major thing. And it gives an answer to the question that we've been asking for a while, which is why suddenly has the alternative media, which bearing in mind are the group of people, the growing group of people that push back against the establishment, why has it suddenly been taken over by religion? Because me and Rich have been in this realm for a long, long time. It was always anti-religion.
But yeah, well, the reason is quite clearly because all three Abrahamic religions, in my opinion, after look, as you say, been in this for a long time, were designed to triangulate against each other. It's a perfect psychopathic tool is triangulation. You have 3 points and you get two to argue amongst each other, so the third point controls the other two. All three Abrahamic religions are pitted against each other on the same story in different interpretations, and in different interpretations of that story. That I believe they were designed that way. That's just my opinion. But if they're not designed that way, they're surely being used that way.
I think so. And it also answers a question which we've been asked for a while, is why is Israel basically not trying to do any PR anymore? Now, I've been in this, like I said, I've been in this game a long time. I've been speaking up for Palestinians since the early 2000s. Their PR was pretty good before. You know, you had this army of Hasbro trolls that were just basically taking over the internet and discussion. That's gone now. The mainstream media wouldn't touch it. Now it's everywhere. And you're like, Israel is still not stopping. It's still not even trying to pretend, really. It's not. And you're like, so you're creating a point where the world is starting to despise you. Why would they do that when they've been so good at stopping that previously? And then I'm like, maybe that's what they want. Maybe they want to create this situation where they build support for a war on Israel and actually destroying Jerusalem and destroying the Al-Aqsa Mosque. I mean, that would set up, all hell would break loose, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
Even from people that aren't religious, they would be going mad about this. And then I'm thinking, well, actually, if you do destroy Jerusalem, bearing in mind, they want to take us into a new world of technology. And you think about the amount of ancient sites that have been destroyed by the likes of ISIS, which is just a proxy for the West anyway. And you go, are they trying to destroy Jerusalem? Is that what they want? Do they want to destroy a powerful place historically in terms of where we came from as a human race and our history? Because they don't want future generations to know about the history. That's the whole point. They don't want that. When you build human 2.0, you don't want them to look back at human 1.0. You want them to think they're the first incarnation. And then I look at Ukraine and I go, see, the New Jerusalem project is something worth looking into with this as well.
Yep.
You go, well, you've got two situations here. Yes, you're building the greater Israel. They're not even hiding it anymore. Netanyahu's openly saying that. But at the same time, you're almost inviting the seven armies to turn on Israel, which is part, again, of biblical prophecy.
Yep.
And are they basically allowing Ukraine to be completely freaking decimated, to empty it of Ukrainians, so that they can then rebuild all of this there?
I think you've hit the nail on the head. Absolutely. And this will explain why what you're saying. This has to happen. This is written into their prophecies, by the way, that the worlds and the nations will rise up against Israel. So just have a look at this. This is from the New International Version. On that day, when all the nations of the earth are gathered against her, Israel, I will make Jerusalem an immovable rock for all the nations, so the nations can't remove it because they're coming in. All who try to move it will injure themselves. That's a polite way of putting it. They want the nations to rise up against this cult, which is basically using those of the Jewish faith and the Israeli people as part of a character or a plot point in their story. These guys don't give a toss about those of the Israeli people.
Lab
Those of
rats
the
for
Jewish
Pfizer,
faith.
mate.
They don't care.
They don't care.
They don't care at all. This is part of their agenda that you're supposed to rise up. So what you've said exactly there, spot on. Time has come when the world is supposed to rise up against Israel. This is part of it, and that is the whole point. Everything has been back-engineered through this prophecy story. And when you're talking to Ukraine and the New Jerusalem, that's the green and fertile land. That's the land of milk and honey. If you look at what's there, that's known as a very fertile place. So they're going to build
bread basket of the world. Yeah,
bread basket of the world, because that's going to be the New Jerusalem, in my opinion. And then you'll have your temple, which will be your AI system, Rehoboam. They called it in Westworld, which is the son of Solomon, on Temple Mount. And as mad as this sounds, these guys believe this stuff.
They do, and they openly say that Jerusalem will become essentially the broadcasting point of the world.
Yep,
like it's almost like this is where all this stuff is going to come from when everyone's chipped and connected to AI and all this stuff. It's insane, and it's quite heavy for a Thursday morning. But the point is, they believe this stuff. The people that believe this stuff are not just some fringe extremist sect within a certain religion and cult, which there's many.
Yeah.
These are people that are intrinsically connected to the leaders of the planet, or at least the actors that play the role of leaders of the planet. And that's why it's so important. That's why we're talking about it on what is essentially a news show, because this stuff is going to affect people. And in terms of destroying Israel, who dies? Innocent Israelis.
Yep.
Same as when they go, we're going to go and get Hamas. Yeah, who'd you kill? Innocent civilians. It's the same in every war.
So
it's
I'll
the
just
same in every war.
Read this out before we do leave you with these amazing, wonderful, uplifting thoughts. This is from the Chabad website. This is about what they believe the temple will be. An explanation provided by Chabad thought is that the location of the temple is a gateway or interface, portal, between heaven and earth. What does that sound like? CERN to you?
A little bit.
Yeah. The temple itself, with all its chambers and accoutrements, is a kind of resonance chamber or amplifier, as well as a broadcaster of that system to the rest of the world. It's not as if they're not telling us, is it, Gez?
No, exactly that. But thank you so much for watching. I know it kind of went a little bit there, but I think it's really important. I saw this morning, and I was like, that's a really good question. Do they at least believe that actually they have actually sacrificed and burnt the red heifer, and therefore they've kicked this off? Perhaps. It's worth looking into, though, isn't it?
Yeah,
all this kind of stuff.
Absolutely.
Like I say, not because we believe in it, but because the people essentially that matter in our daily lives believe in it, and that's why it's important. For more content like this, in terms of this sort of information, more in-depth stuff, particularly on your show on Classified, you can head over to iconic.com. You can subscribe straight away, $1.99. There's loads more films, documentaries, entertainment, comedy. There's a lot there. It's a big old website.
It is.
Thank you for watching. See you later.